Hello, my name is Ziad Hatoum, and this is my partner Andreas Kikolov. Our science fair experiment is about testing two kinds of light, a UV light and a normal lamp light, on a bean plant's mass. So our objective question is, what is the effect of different wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation, NM, on a bean plant's mass in grams? So we got this idea from searching on the internet for science fair ideas as the due date was coming closer and closer. Found the topic of UV radiation. They were bad topics and they didn't have a lot of meaning. Although we had decided to continue to continue researching about UV radiation. After we had finished researching with UV radiation, we had found that it was harmful to humans and living organisms, and we had wanted to test it on a living organism. So we had chosen to test it on plants. But the main reason, we wanted the topic is how much it related to real life. And now to Andreas to explain how it relates to real life.
We have completed shows us to
Okay, so for our experiment, we had gone through the whole entire scientific method, as we had gone through, uh, as we had made variables, a hypothesis, collected data through the experiment, and then made analysis and conclusions. After this, our independent variable, as stated, was different wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation in NM. This means the different kinds of lights. So to fit our experiment is testing UV light, but to fit in the normal lamp light, we set the different amounts of wavelengths, and this is our independent variable. We had wanted to test the UV light and the normal lamp light in comparison, while for a plant to grow on these different lights, which has ended up to be our dependent variable, where we would measure the mass when the plants would shine on the plants and grow. So as this was our dependent variable, we had chosen this dependent variable because we chose the mass so we could see the overall growth of the plant. For example, if we chose length, we couldn't see the roots. For the mass, And also qualitative observations would be like seeing the root length, the leaf length, the whole entire plant. So, and that's what we did for our scientific method and how we came up with this design. Okay, now to Andrew. Okay, so how was our project different from the people that researched about the project? For the people researching about the project, they made it very clear they weren't trying to prove anything. They were just creating research and seeing how UV light can affect a plant and its cellular structure. For us, we really want to show how our research, how our experiment, and our results can prove something about how it can connect real world problems. As Andrew said, there's more and more UV light coming to Earth by the time going, and we want to show with our results how impactful it can be by using the example of plants. Okay, now to Andrew. Okay, what skills did we acquire with this new project? The skills that we acquired in the project was how to deal with plants and how much amount of water they needed, how to remove them from like a container and measure them and to measure the mass, and we just learned how to deal with plants. Now to Andrew. Okay, so what did our results mean? We had found out that the results that we only had two plants due to problems, but the results really showed like the different growth rates of plants. Like for example, the UV light had a growth rate of like growing at least 1 gram per every 3 days, while the normal lamplight had grown around 2 grams every 3 days. Back to Andrew. Okay, did you have any experimental errors in the project? If so, how did you correct them? Our only errors were, first of all, our error was that we didn't think of how we removed the plant from the container. We fixed that by using a metallic circle, as Andrew said, and we would which would make it a consistent way of measuring the mass of the plant, which is. And then secondly, the error that we couldn't fix, unfortunately, was that the amount of water that was given, a lot of plants died of overconsumption from the water that we provided, and which left us with 2 plants only. Back to Andrew. Okay, if we could continue the project next year, I would make the plans more valid, reliable, and accurate. This is because personally, I really think our information can, like, be, if we had really reliable amounts, our information can be really good and really impact people uh, and really tell people a message. And that's all we know for our science fair. Bye.